Hello, and welcome to Instructor Video 7. I hope you are all taking the barely 10 minutes out of your busy lives to watch these few lecture items from me. If you guys stop watching the videos, I might have to start doing quizzes or something. Don't make me do that. I don't want to. So this one will be short. I just want to talk real quick about your instructor profile. Your instructor drafts or your profiles that are coming through this week, and kind of what to expect the week you get back from spring break. So this week by Friday at 11 p.m. you'll need to submit your Project 2 profile instructor draft on Sakai assignments. Don't forget to also submit at the same time your reviewer memo along with it. The reviewer memo is attached to the assignment, so it's easy to find. You can also find it in resources. This profile draft should be different than your peer workshop draft. So take the comments and responses you receive from your peers to improve and revise your profile. Also, you want to make your own changes. So not just revisions that your peers suggested, but maybe try, for example, moving your last paragraph to the first paragraph, or get rid of your first paragraph and start with your second paragraph. Maybe try rewriting your introduction or your conclusion. Maybe add in another quote from your subject and reflect on that quote and what it shows about this person. One thing that you can do before you turn in your instructor draft is to make sure you're leading the reader to a logical conclusion or an emotional response about your subject. In other words, you want to check every paragraph you wrote and see what particular emotional response or logical conclusion those paragraphs are leading the reader towards. So in other words, there should be one overarching purpose or connecting theme throughout your profile. Many of you failed to do this in your memoir, and you're sort of all over the place with the theme or message of your memoir. And so I'd like you to try and come up with sort of a unifying theme or message through this profile. A good paper or profile, especially a short one like this, will focus on a particular theme, point, or purpose, and all parts of the paper will contribute to that point, theme, or purpose. For example, if your purpose is to show the audience the important contributions this person has made to your field, then all of your paragraphs should illustrate what were those contributions, how did the person do them, where did he do them, why did he do them, or she? Why did your subject, how have they contributed in the field in positive ways? And all of your paragraphs are kind of related to that, those contributions. And that would probably lead to a logical conclusion about the contributions that this person has made in the field. If your subject has been through some exceptionally difficult or trying experiences and you want to show how they've persevered and prevailed, in their field, then all the paragraphs that you include should illustrate the difficulties they endured and explain how they got through those difficulties or that difficulty, where and why the subject has persevered and prevailed through them. This would be leading to more of an emotional response that you're trying to lead your readers to about that person. So of course you need to include some details about what your subject sounds and looks like, but this should be simply background information that you kind of tactically weave into the more important thematically focused details of your profile. So before you submit your instructor draft, try to decide on one theme or point that you're trying to make about your subject, and check to see that all of your paragraphs point to this one theme or point, that by the end of the profile your reader will either have the emotional response you want, or they will come to a logical conclusion that you want them to come to, because your profile is so smoothly tied together. Think of how smoothly Sagal led you to an emotional response to Matt Inman, the oatmeal, and his quirky yet endearing personality. He came across as a humble yet creative person who is passionate about his comics and his running. So Sagal really thought about that profile, and he wanted to make sure that how Inman came across was like that. And he crafted the profile to include only parts of Inman that showed his humility, his humbleness, and his creativity and his passion. So try putting into one sentence the most important aspects of your subject's personality and accomplishments that you want to convey, and make sure every paragraph in your profile relates just to those accomplishments and personality traits. You cannot tell the entire story of this person. That would take a whole book, and it will make your profile wander all over the place. So focus on something specific about the person and really lead your reader to a conclusion about that. So I will be looking for this kind of thematic focus in your instructor drafts that I will be looking at over this spring break. So make sure you get those in by Friday at 11. And then over spring break, you'll need to try and do some work on your investigative report. Again, because we missed those first 2 weeks of classes, we've kind of had to smush these two projects together a little bit. So we started researching in class on Tuesday in the library, and by now you should have a clear research question that you're trying to answer, or that's part of your investigation, meaning the sources you find should help you answer that research question, and your report should answer that question for your rhetorical audience. You can also use people and websites, reputable expert ones, as sources. So if it means that you might have to interview somebody to get some more quotes for your investigative report, then do that. You'll need to work on your investigative report a little bit over spring break, so you can have a workshop draft done by our next face-to-face class. You need to bring to our next face-to-face class 2 copies of that investigative report, a workshop draft in hard print or hard copy. Be sure to keep your rhetorical audience close in mind as you write this first draft of your investigative report. You really want to think about who lacks information on this particular issue or problem, and how are you going to report that information to them. If it's students, will you put this in a URI student blog or write it as an editorial piece for the Good 5 Cent Cigar, perhaps? Would your audience prefer a video report, an investigative report, kind of like a TV news report? So think about how you're going to get this information to the people who lack knowledge about it. You should know a little bit about this problem or issue on your own. You don't want to have to rely completely on research to write this report, because it is not a research paper. It's a report on an issue that you know something about already and that you think some audiences need to know more about. So your voice should also be an authoritative voice in this too, not just the voices of experts. Also, before our next face-to-face class, you have a reading to do. Read the New Yorker magazine's investigative report called Grub, Eating Bugs to Save the Planet, and watch a short video that the author, her name is Dana Goodyear, made about writing this report. It's in Sakai Resources Readings. The reading is pretty fun. It's about entomology, or the study of bug eating. Like, instead of lobster, perhaps we'll be eating fried beetles and steamed ants in the future. Yum. Reading this investigative report will help you write your own. Use it as a model. The video will help you understand how Dana Goodyear, the writer-reporter, investigated and reported on this issue. Take some tips from her to use in your own investigation. Also, bring the Goodyear reading to our next face-to-face class so we can discuss it a bit. And then finally, don't forget you'll have a brief small group forum post to complete before our next face-to-face class on this reading and the video. So you may want to start some of these this week before you head out to spring break, so you kind of get them done. Otherwise, that's it. Enjoy the sun. If you happen to be going to Tampa, Florida, I'll see you there, or likely not, since I'll mostly be indoors for a Writing and Rhetoric conference that I'm presenting at with some of my other fellow graduate students. It's kind of like a party for writing geeks like me. Probably not how you'd like to spend your spring break, but it's okay for me. I did my Florida spring breaks in college already, so those days are long gone. Now it's reporting on gen ed writing rubrics and university-wide writing assessments. That's my spring break. I know you're jealous, but maybe I'll catch a few rays by the pool, and hopefully you guys get some rest, get to see your family, friends, or enjoy some warm weather if you're going there, and enjoy your break. And I will see you when we get back.